from West Virginia Public Broadcasting.
Support for the following is provided by the West Virginia Department of Education and West Virginia Public Broadcasting. Hey! Hey everyone, it's Education Station!
Hi, and welcome back to Education Station. I'm your host, Alex Milanese. Education Station is a show where we invite teachers from all across West Virginia to submit videos of themselves teaching their favorite lessons. In today's episode, we're getting 3 exciting lessons about descriptive writing. Now, one of the best parts about living in West Virginia is the natural beauty. But did you know that getting into the great outdoors can actually be a fun learning opportunity? Well, first up, we're going to visit Miss Little, who has an awesome descriptive writing lesson that you can do while on a nature walk. Let's check it out.
Hi guys, my name is Rachel Little, and today I'm going to take you guys on a nature walk through West Virginia. Along the way, we're going to stop and we're going to look for some of West Virginia's state nature symbols. We're going to see what we can find. Let's go! One interesting thing you might find on a nature walk in West Virginia is a rhododendron plant. Rhododendron is our state flower, and they're very common in Asia as well as West Virginia, which is pretty interesting. They bloom anywhere from March all the way to July, so you should be on the lookout for our state flower. Another interesting thing you can find on a nature walk in West Virginia is a stream. Streams are actually home to brook trout, which is the only species of trout that's native in West Virginia. They live in some of the most pure and coldest streams in West Virginia, so probably not this one. On your nature walk, you might also find some flowers that attract honeybees. Honeybees are West Virginia's state insect, and they're actually not native to North America. Honeybees were brought over with colonists from Europe. Also, there can be up to 80,000 honeybees in just one hive. You don't want to make them angry. When you're in the woods, it's important to keep your eye out for bear. Our state animal is the black bear. Black bear can be anywhere from 130 to 500 pounds. And the biggest ones they found have actually been 700 pounds. That's pretty huge. Black bear are omnivores. That means they eat meat as well as things like nuts, berries, twigs, and other plants. Another thing to look out for when you're in the wood is snakes. Snakes like to hide in tall grasses just like these, so be very careful and make sure to wear boots when you're in the woods. Our state reptile is the timber rattlesnake, which is very venomous, and it can grow to be pretty huge. They can be up to 5 feet long and live for 30 years. That's older than me. So I decided it's time to stop for lunch on our nature walk, and I've actually brought some things with me that also relate to West Virginia history. One thing I brought is our state fruit. This is a golden delicious apple, and what's unique about it is that it was discovered right here in West Virginia. It was discovered in Clay County in the early 1900s, and like the name suggests, it's very delicious. I also brought with me our state food. You guessed it, it's a pepperoni roll. Pepperoni rolls are great because they were developed right here in West Virginia as well. They were actually packed in coal miners' lunch as a quick, easy, and filling meal for them to have on their breaks at work. Our state bird is the cardinal. If you see a bright red cardinal in your backyard or on a nature walk of your own, it's definitely a male cardinal. Female cardinals are not bright red. They're actually just brown, which isn't as fun, but they have a little bit of red on the ends of their wings and sometimes on their chest. As I've been on my nature walk, I've kept my eye out for butterflies. I haven't seen any yet, but our state butterfly is the monarch butterfly. Sometimes monarch butterflies are also called milkweed butterflies because they love milkweed plants. They also migrate just like birds during the seasons. They go from north to south. trees can grow up to 130 feet tall, and our state tree is a sugar maple. Sugar maples are great for making maple syrup as well as hardwood for lumber. I wanted to show you guys something that I found on my nature walk. In my hand is some coal, and it's no surprise that coal is our state rock. Coal is a wonderful part of our history because West Virginia has some of the richest coal fields in the whole world. I'm sure if you went out and looked, you could find some yourself. Hi guys, I'm back from my nature walk. I changed my clothes, and I want to talk to you guys about how you can go on a nature walk of your very own. The great thing about nature walks is that nature is all around us. It's not just in parks or on a fancy hiking trail, but it's in your neighborhood and in your own backyard. I want to challenge you guys to go in your yard or on a walk around your neighborhood and see what nature you can find. What kind of plants grow there, what kind of animals might live there, what kind of bugs live there, what kind of rocks can you find, or seeds or nuts, what kind of trees can you find? Are there any streams or ponds? Can you see the mountains in the distance, or is it pretty flat? Look around you, see what you can notice, keep track of it. Maybe have your parents take a picture on their phone. You can go home and then you can have your parents help you look up on the internet all of the things you found so you can learn more about it. One thing you can even do that I like to do is keep a nature journal. I went in my backyard and I found a few things to put in my nature journal. Let me show you. One thing I found is this beautiful iris. I also found some leaves from an apple tree that's right in my backyard. And I found a rock. So what I do when I find things that I think are interesting is I like to take a little sketch of them. Don't know if you can see that. But you guys can make a nature journal of your very own, and yours can look totally different than mine. Maybe you found a cute squirrel you want to sketch in crayon. That works perfectly. Or maybe you want to write down some notes of the things you saw instead of making pictures. That works too. Whatever you want to do in your nature journal to make it your very own is perfect. You can use different mediums like ink pens or markers and crayons and paint. Whatever you have and whatever your parents let you use is perfect. Think outside the box, get creative, and have some fun with it. Whatever you want in your nature journal works perfectly. As long as you're having fun and learning about what's around you, you're doing it right. State parks are great places for a nature walk. If you want to go to a state park to have a nature walk of your own, check out wvstateparks.com. This website has all kinds of great free resources for you and your family to find the next state park that you'd like to visit. It's important to remember during this time that there might be some special rules when you go to state parks. Although most parks and trails are now open, there might be social distancing guidelines that it's important for you and your family to know before you go and follow when you get there. It's fun to go to state parks, but it's also good to be safe. When you go, make sure you take your nature journal with you so you can sketch and write notes about all of the wonderful things you saw. You can also take your phone to take pictures of what you saw and use the internet to look up facts about the amazing animals and plants I'm sure you'll find. Also, keep your eye out when you're on your nature walk. Look for all those state symbols I taught you guys about. Maybe you'll see a monarch butterfly, or a honeybee, or a cardinal, or a rhododendron flower. Maybe you'll see a sugar maple, and I hope you don't see a black bear or a timber rattlesnake. That would not be very safe. But you could also bring with you our state fruit and our state food, a golden delicious apple and a pepperoni roll. Have some fun learning about our state history and about our beautiful natural resources we have in our state. It can be a lot of fun just to see what's around you. Have a good day.
Thanks, Miss Little. Now, while you're journaling about your nature walk, you're definitely going to use descriptive words called adjectives. So for a quick lesson about adjectives, let's go visit Miss Lewis.
Today, we are going to be talking about adjectives. So what is an adjective? An adjective is a describing word that describes a noun. So what's a noun? A noun is any person, place, or thing. So, for example, if I said a noun as my home, it's a place, so it's a noun. and then I could use the describing word that it's cozy. So my adjective would be cozy. Okay, so to start our lesson, I want to start with an activity. So whenever I say go, I'm going to give you a minute, and I want you to go around your house and collect 5 objects and bring them back to your workstation. This can be anything like a pet, your favorite snack, your favorite toy, your favorite game, anything. Just 5 objects that are nouns and bring them back to your workstation. On your mark, get set, go. Awesome. So now that you have your 5 objects, I want you to either write down on a piece of paper or think of 3 to 5 words that describe each of your objects. So I'm going to start with mine, for example. I grabbed this apple storage container. So I could say that it is big, that it's red, and that it's hollow. So those are 3 words that I can describe my noun. Big, red, and hollow. So on your mark, get set, go. So as we previously discussed, each of your objects are known as nouns because it's either a person, a place, or a thing. So the words that you use to describe your nouns are known as your adjectives. So if you're at a loss for words of how to describe each of your nouns, you could use some help. You could use the size, the shape, the number, or one of my favorites is your 5 senses. So how does it look? How does it smell? How does it taste? How does it sound? And how does it feel? Adjectives can also be used to compare things. For example, how big something is compared to how big something else is. So now we're going to practice. I'm going to give you a noun, and I want you to think of 5 things to describe this noun that I give you, okay? So after I give you your noun, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to think of your 5 words, your 5 adjectives. So the first one we're going to start with is a person. So describe your school teacher. Ready, set, go. So there are all kinds of words that you can use to describe your school teacher, but I'm going to describe my school teacher. I describe my school teacher as being nice, funny, pretty, honest, and helpful. And whenever you're describing people, you can use not only things on the outside, like how I said she was pretty, but things on the inside, like how I said she was nice. So the next noun we're going to do is a place. So I want you in 10 seconds, think of 5 adjectives to describe your grocery store. Ready, set, go. So there are all kinds of different words you can use to describe your grocery store too, but some of the ones that I used were crowded, boring, big, and busy. So for our last practice noun, we're going to use a thing. And this one might be a little bit harder, but I think you can do it. I know you can do it. So in 10 seconds, I want you to give me 5 describing words or adjectives to describe the weather. Ready, set, go. I'm sure you did great, but here are a few of mine. I put that weather can be foggy, rainy, wet, dry, or sunny. So now that we've had a little bit of practice with adjectives and describing our nouns, I'm going to make it just a little bit harder. So I'm going to give you 5 adjectives, and I want you to try to guess what my noun is, okay? So here are your first set of adjectives. I picked hairy, scary, big, loud, and wild. I'm going to repeat those again. Hairy, scary, big, loud, and wild. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint in case you're stuck. This noun is an animal. So what animal is hairy, scary, big, loud, and wild? If you guessed bear, then you guessed the noun correctly. But if not, that's okay. Now let's try one more. So this next one, here are your adjectives. Salty, warm, buttery, yellow and white, greasy, and I added an extra one, delicious. So, I'm going to repeat those again. Salty, warm, buttery, yellow and white, greasy, and delicious. If you need a little help with this one is a snack. So what snack is salty, warm, buttery, yellow and white, greasy, and delicious? If you guessed popcorn, then you guessed it correctly. But if not, that's okay. So today we practiced the concept of adjectives and nouns. So to review, I'm going to ask you a few questions and I want you to answer them and think of the correct answer before I give it to you. Question number 1. What is a noun? Give an example. If you said a noun was any person, place, or thing, then you are correct. And an example could be like our practice, your school teacher, the grocery store, or the weather. Question number 2. What is an adjective? Give an example. If you said that an adjective is a describing word that describes a noun, then you are correct. An example could be, like I said in the start of our lesson, cozy, because my house is cozy. And last question, question number 3, I want you to give 3 examples of how you can help yourself if you get stuck on a describing word. For example, I'm going to say the 5 senses. So for this answer, you could have a range of things, but if you said anything like the color, the shape, the size, the number, or your 5 senses, then you are correct. If you're like me and you like to learn through song, and songs help you remember things better, there's a song on YouTube by Schoolhouse Rock called Unpack Your Adjectives, and that might help you understand adjectives a little bit more. So we use adjectives and nouns every day, even when we may not realize it. Describing things that we see or do on a daily basis can be a natural thing. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson and continue to use your adjectives and nouns.
Thanks, Miss Lewis. So now that we feel more comfortable with adjectives, Mrs. Bighorn is going to show us how to put them to use in our next segment. Let's check it out.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Bighorn. I teach at Mason-Dixon Elementary. So the story I'm going to read is Scribble Stones. First, have you ever found a rock outside? You pick it up because it looks neat or it feels a certain way. How did it get there? Was it left? We're going to send this rock on an adventure. Are you ready? And our story is Scribble Stones, written and illustrated by Diane Abler. So when we think of our character is going to have feelings in our story. And those feelings can change as events happen, as words are said, and the author gives us clues by what the character says of how the character feels, or what the character does, or how the other characters interact. So we're going to look for clues to track the character's feelings in our story. This story is about one happy stone who was gray and round and rarely alone. He lived with the others, all stacked in a pile, and waited calmly with a large, friendly smile. Did you hear how our character feels? Did the author kind of give us a clue? Let's go back and reread. This story is about one happy stone, so we know he's happy. So you could write the word happy, or you could just draw a smiley face. It says he was waited calmly in a large group with a friendly smile. So he's friendly. And he has a smile. Each stone has a purpose, but it wasn't known yet. Some would be landscaping, and some would be a stone pet. There were so many things that the stones could be. The hardest part was just waiting to see. Landscaping. Landscaping you find around your yard, rocks that are placed to make the yard look nice. And a stone pet. Have you ever had a pet rock? Stone knew that his purpose would brighten someone's day. He just wasn't sure how or in what kind of way. He imagined the things that he might soon become as he watched all the stones get picked up one by one. So he's imagining and he's waiting. So he is waiting to be picked up, and he's imagining all of the things that he could be. But his happy face slowly turned to a frown as he watched the tall pile start to dwindle on down. And although he was worried, he tried not to care until it was all clear he was the last one there. So he started to worry. He was the last stone in his pile. Everyone else started their adventure. Then it finally happened. The stone was quickly picked up. He was placed on a desk next to a very large cup. He is happy. So we'll put that in the middle of our story because he's starting his adventure. As Stone looked around, he thought, this is so great. But he soon discovered he was a dull paperweight. I'm supposed to bring happiness, not hold paper still. There must be a mistake. This just can't be my skill. So he was happy, and then he discovered he was not happy. He is not happy. And the illustrator gave us a clue with a frowny face. Then all of a sudden, a splatter flew by, and then some bright scribbles came wiggling by. They were all headed right toward the short paper stack, and they filled up the paper on the front to the back. What is this? He's kind of looking in shock, excited. They were all making art, and it was happening so fast. Stone feared that the paper would simply not last. So he's back to feeling he was shocked, kind of by that look on his face. And then he went to worried that the paper would not last because the art was happening so fast. We'll see some of the art. He couldn't believe just how much the pile grew. Then he heard a small cry from the fun splatter crew. We knew this pile was getting too tall. There is no more paper. We have used it all. The scribbles all cried. They now saw it too. This is a disaster. Oh, what will we do? Stone didn't want Scribbles to cry, so he thought of something that they could all try. He slowly rolled down the very large pile and said, I know how to make you all smile. I know I'm not paper, but I like art too. Do you think you could spare some red, yellow, and blue? What's his idea? He had an idea. So he was thinking. He didn't want the scribbles to cry. So he started to solve the problem. So he was problem solving. Do you know what his idea is? I think you do. They loved the idea and could not wait to start. Scribble began making a happiness heart. Splatter then painted some pale baby blue. Another scribble added a sunny gold hue. It didn't take long before more stones showed up, and soon the line grew behind the very large cup. So his idea spread to others. They wanted to be a part of the fun. To Stone's surprise, he was picked up once more. He had never heard of this happening before. More art was added, and he was on his way to become a small gift to brighten someone's day. He's excited that he got picked up and he has helped. So he is happy again. Nearby, another stone's journey had begun. He was spreading such happiness and having great fun. Every time he traveled, someone added their part. Sometimes just a scribble, sometimes fancy art. With each new layer, there was a story to share, and soon scribble stones were seen everywhere. They traveled the planet. It was quite a fun event, bringing happiness and fun wherever they went. Now thousands of stones inspire creativity each day, all because of a paperweight with a will and a way. So when we ended, he was happy. He was picked up. He went on another journey. So he also brought happiness to others. So in the end, he did get his gift. He got to use his purpose. His purpose was to bring happiness. And do you think bringing happiness to others made him happy, our Scribble Stone? So when we go back to our character's feelings and we track the character's feelings throughout the story, in the beginning he was happy and hopeful that he was going to get picked up. Happy because he created and used his purpose to bring happiness to others. You have that ability too with your smile. You can also, if you would like to create a scribble stone, safely go to a creek or landscaping, take a stone, paint it, and then I'd like for you to take it and place it in the yard where you know that it's safe. Take some time to journal. Remember, you are loved, you are cared about, and your teachers miss you.
Thanks, Mrs. Bighorn. All right, well, that wraps up everything for us here today on Education Station. We want to thank all of the teachers who submitted their awesome lessons. And we want to thank you for watching. We'll see you next time right here on Education Station.